Now on the History Channel, stories from the pages of time. Stories of triumph and tragedy, adventure and achievement, as we go in search of history. Werewolves. Today's images of these man-turned-wolf monsters mostly came from the make-believe world of Hollywood. But the ancient Greeks and Romans believed werewolves actually existed and were absolutely deadly. Shockingly, in the 16th century, 30,000 people in France were accused of being werewolves. As we go in search of history, we'll discover the beliefs, fears, and hysteria that surround legends of the werewolves. People have always had a macabre fascination with what terrifies them most. Whether it's real-life savagery of serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer, or imagined monsters like Frankenstein and Dracula, humans are irresistibly drawn to these horrifying subjects. One of the most ancient and enduring is the werewolf.
There were werewolf stories as far back as you find recorded stories. And in all countries, in Greece, in Middle Europe, in Asia, they're everywhere.
At the dawn of civilization, there was little that separated man from beast. People then thought humans could revert to animals, a belief called shape-shifting.
Virtually every society, primitive societies and so forth, have stories and beliefs about transformation from animal to human form and vice versa. You go back even on the cave paintings, you have pictures of what appear to be half man, half stag.
All civilization has probably been a story of, keeping certain impulses and emotions and urges in check, and most of these are the more primitive instincts, the animal instincts. So ever since man started becoming civilized, the werewolf has been lurking somewhere back there in the shadow.
Not so much in the shadows that the werewolf wasn't noted by the ancient Greek and father of history, Herodotus. In the 5th century BC, he reported in his travels of a shape-shifting people known as Neurians.
Each Neurian changes himself once a year into the form of a wolf, and he continues in that form for several days, after which he resumes his former shape.
You find very strong werewolf myths among the Greeks, among the Romans. I mean, you got Roman werewolf stories which sound like they were, they were produced by Hollywood last week.
One of these stories came from a Roman satirist named Petronius. He was among the first to chronicle an enduring connection between werewolves and a full moon. Petronius wrote of a man who, on a night lit by a full moon, went to visit his mistress. He asked a soldier friend to accompany him. Along the way, the soldier suddenly stopped, stripped off his clothes, transformed into a wolf, and ran into the darkness.
The full moon really does have a connection with genuine werewolf lore, because there is a belief that somehow the full moon creates madness in people, lunacy, moon. So the full moon and the transformation from man to beast is a natural, magical connection.
Arriving at his mistress's home, the man learned that a servant had fought off a wolf with a sword, wounding it in the neck. The next day, the man discovered the soldier in his barracks, dying of a sword wound to his neck.
These were stories that were widely told and widely believed, that if you were wounded as a wolf, you transformed back into human form, but the wound stayed with you.
An even more horrifying account of a werewolf came from the Roman poet Ovid. Writing in the 1st century, he told of an ancient Greek king named Lycaon, whose cruelty was so notorious that the king of the gods, Jupiter himself, paid him a visit. But Lycaon refused to believe his visitor was a god, and tested him by serving a sumptuous feast in which he had secretly mixed human flesh.
Cannibalism, even among the ancient Greeks, was a no-no. I mean, that was a real taboo. To put a cannibal meal before a god was a tremendous offense.
Jupiter instantly detected the tainted food. Furious, he turned Lycaon into a wolf so he could pursue his penchant for human flesh in a more suitable form.